Okay, so good day everyone. So I am the last reporter in our group. So my report is all about the special variation of syllogism. So um in the first part of the video, they discuss the categorical and hypothetical syllogism. So in my task, in my report, special variation of syllogism does not need or it does not follow the pattern like categorical and hypothetical syllogism. So in a special variation of syllogism, there are four part of the special variation. First is the intimim, second is epicrim, third is the sorites, and then lastly is the dilemma. Okay, so first special variation of syllogism is called intimim. So intimim comes from the Greek word in, which means in, and tumos, which means mind. So in etymological speaking, it means in mind. So intimim is a kind of syllogism wherein either a premise or the conclusion is totally omitted. So in intimim, there are a part of the statement na nawawala. It's either the major, minor, and the conclusion. So there are three order in this a part of the intimim. First, second, and third order. So, I will give an example in my PPT that can for you to understand the first and second, third order of the intimim. Here in my example, the major premise is the every singer is an artist. And the minor premise is, but John Dewey is a singer. And the conclusion is, therefore, John Dewey is an artist. So, in first order, the major premise is omitted. So, it becomes, John Dewey is a singer. Therefore, John Dewey is an artist. So, ang major premise na every singer is an artist is nawawala. So, sa first order is nawawala ang major premise na every singer is an artist. But still, the arguments holds based on the minor premise. Naiintindihan pa din natin yung statement even though nawawala yung major premise niya based on the minor premise. And then the second order is the minor premise. So, yung minor premise naman ang nawawala. So, it becomes every singer is an artist. Therefore, John Dewey is an artist. So, pansin nyo, di ba? The minor premise is nawawala. So, ang major premise naman at saka conclusion sa statement ang nakikita or ang ating nababasa. So, sa third order naman is the conclusion is omitted. So, it becomes, every singer is an artist, but John Dewey is a singer. So, even though nawawala yung conclusion, is understandable pa din yung statement. Understandable pa din kahit may nawawalang isang part ng statement. So, I will give you another example. So, the major premise in my example is all human die. The minor premise naman is Juan is a human. And the conclusion is, therefore, Juan will die. So, in first order, the major premise are omitted or missing. So, it becomes Juan is a human. Therefore, Juan will die. And then the second order is the minor premise are missing. So, it becomes all human die. Therefore, Juan will die. The major in the conclusion is included in the statement, while the minor naman is nawawala. But still, the statement is understandable. And the third order naman is the conclusion is missing. So, all human die, Juan is a human. So, still, understandable pa din siya kahit walang conclusion. It becomes, all human die, Juan is a human. So, the conclusion is missing. So, in a first order, always remember that in a first order, the major premise are missing. In the second order, the minor premise is missing. And then the last order or the third order is the conclusion is missing. So that's what we call the intimate. There are a part of statement na nawawala or missing but still the statement is understandable. So that is intimate. So the second special variation of syllogism is the epigram syllogism. So epigram syllogism comes from the Greek word epe, which means on, and the gir, which means hand. So it is one or both premise are supported by explanations which indicate in a proposition. It needed to use connective clauses like since, for, because for the statement para mas lalong maintindihan yung statement, para madagdagan pa ng other information yung statement. So there are two part of the epigram, which is the simple and compound epigram syllogism. So first is the simple epigram syllogism. So it provides the reason for the truth of the statement. Used because to show relationship between premise and the conclusion. So for instance, men are rational because they are all capable of thinking. But John Angelo is a man. Therefore, John Angelo is a rational. So the major premise here is the men are rational because they are all capable of thinking. And the minor premise is the John Angelo is a man. And the conclusion is, therefore, John Angelo is a rational. So in a minor premise, we see the word because para mas maintindihan lalo kung ano talaga yung men. Men is a rational because they are all capable of thinking. So, maintindihan natin na si John Angelo is a man because he has a capable of thinking. And the next part of the epigram syllogism is the compound epigram syllogism. So, the premise are supported by multiple explanation or reason that strengthen in our argument. It used because and for used to show the relationship between premise and the conclusion. So, in compound epigram, so sa simple epigram syllogism is just one word ang idadagdag sa statement para mas lalong maintindihan yung pinapahiwatig ng statement, while the compound epigram is marami, two or more clauses para makita yung relationship ng premise and the conclusion. So for instance, men are rational because they are capable of thinking, but John Angelo is a man. But John Angelo is a man, for he has a human nature. So therefore, John Angelo is a rational. So as you can see in this example, the minor premise is nadagdagan yung information niya ng he has a human nature. So you have to put an extra or an other term so you have to add an information about a man. So ang dinagdag dito sa minor premise is he has a human nature. So parang mas lalo nating maintindihan na lumawak yung information about men. So therefore, men are rational because they are capable of thinking, but John Angelo is a man. So, he has a human nature. Therefore, John Angelo is a rational. So, it's understandable naman na sa simple epigram syllogism is one clauses lamang ang ginamit to add an information into a statement, while sa compound epigram is two clauses ang inad natin sa major and sa premise para mas lalong lumawak yung information about sa example na men. So that is epigram syllogism. So it is used an clauses like since, for, because, or etc. para mas lalong lumawak yung information or para mas lalong madagdagan yung statement.
So I will give you another example in epic rhyme, and it will be, it's raining, so I shall bring an umbrella. So this part of epic rhyme is a simple epic rhyme because there is one reason supporting the conclusion. It is raining, so I shall bring an umbrella. There are one reason to support the conclusion, and the compound epic rhyme is it is raining. The forecast predicts more rain, and I see dark clouds, so I shall bring an umbrella. So there are multiple reasons to supporting conclusion. Because epic rhyme is the speaker present statement, support it with a reason, and then provide a conclusion based on that reason.
Okay, so the third special variation of syllogism is the sorites. So, sorites is also one of the special variation of syllogism wherein the conclusion is between connected of the syllogism. So, there are two types of sorites, the Aristotelian and the Goslinian. So first is the Aristotelian sorites. So it is one of the type of sorites wherein the predicate of the first proposition becomes the subject of the second proposition, and the predicate of the second proposition becomes the subject of the next in order that the main conclusion is formed. So for instance, all philosophers are thinker, but all thinker are lovers of wisdom. But all lovers of wisdom are intelligent person. But all intelligent person are responsible individuals. So therefore, all philosophers are responsible individuals. So in this example, we use the pattern of Aristotelian sorites wherein the subject of the first proposition becomes the predicate of the second proposition hanggang sa matumpak na yung main conclusion ng isang statement. So, in this Aristotelian sorites, the main point here is hanggang sa makuha yung main conclusion is the subject of this first proposition becomes the predicate of the predicate of the first proposition become the subject of the second proposition in order for us to form the main conclusion of the statement. So the next part of the sorites, as the second part of the types of sorites, is the Goslinian. So Goclinian is one of the types of sorites wherein the subject of the first proposition becomes the predicate of the second proposition, and the subject of the second proposition becomes the predicate of the next until a conclusion formed. So therefore, the subject of the last proposition and the predicate is the predicate of the first syllogism. So for you to understand, I will give you an example. So for instance, all philosophers are thinker, but all thinker are lovers of wisdom. But all intelligent person are thinker, but all responsible individual are intelligent person. Therefore, all responsible individual are thinker. So in Goslinian types of sorites is until hindi mo makuha yung gustong ipahiwatig o yung main conclusion ng isang statement is yung predicate at yung subject ng sa predicate ng sa predicate ng first proposition is magiging subject ng second preposition, and ang predicate naman ng at ang subject naman ng second preposition is magiging predicate ng third preposition, and then ang subject naman ng third preposition is magiging predicate ng fourth preposition hanggang sa makuha na yung conclusion ng isang statement. So unlike sa Aristotelian is Sa Aristotelian sorites is the predicate of the first proposition becomes the subject of the second preposition, and then the predicate of the second proposition becomes the subject of the next in order to form the main conclusion of this statement. While sa Goclinian is the subject of the proposition becomes the predicate of the second proposition, and the subject of second proposition becomes the predicate of the next until a conclusion becomes the predicate. So sa Aristotelian is yung predicate yung magiging subject sa second preposition, while sa Goclinian naman is magiging predicate yung sa subject ng first proposition.
So another example in Aristotelian sorites. So all dogs are mammals. All mammals are vertebrates. All vertebrates are animal. Therefore, all dogs are animals. So the predicate of the first proposition becomes the subject of the second proposition, and then the predicate of the second proposition becomes the subject of the third proposition, and the conclusion is the subject of the first proposition, and then the predicate of the conclusion is the predicate of the third proposition. So each premise builds upon the previous one, leading to the final conclusion. So hope you understand. Another example in Goclinian sorites. So all Greeks are human. All humans are mortal. All mortals are subject to death. Therefore, all Greeks are subject to death. So here, the predicate the human in the first premise become the subject in the second premise, and so on. So until the conclusion forms. So Goclinian sorites is similar to the Aristotelian sorites, but it's a bit more complex. It involves a series of a premise where the predicate of one premise become the subject of the next premise. So the last special variation of the syllogism is the dilemma. So dilemma is last special variation of syllogism, which come from the Greek word dis, which means twice, and lemma, which means premise. Etymologically speaking, it means twice premise. Dilemma can be either be simple or complex form. So, dilemma is ito yung may dalawa kang choices, pero there are one consequences. So, we have two types of dilemma, which is the simple and complex. So first is the simple. Simple is may choices ka na dalawa, and kahit anong piliin mo dun sa choices na yon, is same sila ng outcomes or consequences. For instance, the AFP must either attack or not the Abu Sayyaf trough. If the Abu Sayyaf trough will be attacked by the AFP, then the lives of the hostage be in danger. If the AFP will not attack the Abu Sayyaf trough, then they will continue to hold the hostage and endanger their lives. Therefore, both cases, the lives of the hostage will be in danger. The armed forces of the Philippines will attack or not the Abu Sayyaf. So, yung choices is mamimili ka kung a-attack ka ba or hindi. Ipipiliin mo kung a-atake ka ba sa Abu Sayyaf, is still ang outcomes is nasa panganib pa din yung hostage. Kahit magkaroon ng war, if piliin mo naman ang hindi, still ganun pa din yung outcomes. Nasa panganib pa din yung hostage. Kasi of course, patuloy na mag-hostage yung mga Abu Sayyaf. While sa complex naman is ito yung you don't know the possible outcomes but susugal ka. Kumbaga sa argument, it's either manalo o matalo ka pero makikipag-argue ka. For instance, in gambling, either I will win or not. If I gamble and win, I will gain money. If I gamble and will not win, I will not gain any money at all. Therefore, either I will win or not, I have to gamble. If magsusugal ako, either manalo ako or hindi. If manalo ako, makakakuha ko ng pera. If hindi, ako manalo, wala akong makukuhang pera. Pero susugal ako, even though hindi ko alam yung possible outcomes kung mananalo ako or hindi. In short, the simple The simple is the straightforward, alam mo yung outcomes, while the complex is hindi kasi hindi mo alam ang mangyayari or yung outcomes. Just like example na mananalo ka or matatalo ka. So that's all.